When the first sunlight spilled across the dome of Hagia Sophia, that dawn did not open a new day, it closed an era. Over the skies of Constantinople, dark clouds twisted into long spirals, as if foreshadowing a destiny on the verge of breaking. Winds from the Bosphorus rushed against the Theodosian walls, carrying the echo of gunpowder and the tension of a world entering its decisive hour. In the rare silence between cannon volleys, the city stood still, holding its breath before the storm of history. Rome had once blazed in glory, Byzantium had once shone in splendor, and Constantinople, the last jewel of the Eastern Roman Empire, had long been deemed impregnable. Yet in 1453, the ancient walls that had defied 1,000 years of enemies began to tremble, signaling the end of an old order. This was not merely the fall of a city. It marked the collapse of the Middle Ages and the rise of a world shaped by gunpowder and exploration. And the great question of that age and of posterity still echoes today. What caused a fortress, a symbol of power and faith, for over a millennium, to fall in a single fateful dawn? Before the first cannon shook the Theodosian walls, Constantinople had already endured centuries of decline. Once the magnificent capital of the Eastern Roman Empire, the city had been drained by wars, conflicts, and territorial losses. Population dwindled to mere tens of thousands. Once thriving districts fell silent. Even weakened, Constantinople remained a symbol, the gateway between Europe and Asia. Meanwhile, in the east, a new power was rising with unstoppable momentum: the Ottoman Empire. Mehmed II, the young sultan, driven by the ambition to become the conqueror, led the empire into swift expansion. Advances in military technology, especially cannons and gunpowder, opened a new chapter in siege warfare. Mehmed II was determined to achieve what his predecessors could not: the capture of Constantinople. In this tense climate, Byzantium stood on the precipice of despair. Constantine XI defended the city with barely 7,000 soldiers of mixed origins. The Ottoman army, by contrast, numbered 10 times more, from 70,000 to over 100,000 men. Western Europe, paralyzed by the divide between Catholic and Orthodox churches, could not give decisive aid. An empire once solid as granite had become a solitary fortress bracing for the oncoming flood. The siege began in April 1453 with the arrival of a weapon unlike anything seen before. Urban's giant cannon, forged by a Hungarian master engineer, towered above all previous siege weapons. When the first shot thundered, the earth seemed to split in two. The sound rolled through empty streets, across old arenas, into the heart of the city. The Theodosian walls' symbols of invincibility began to crack. Contemporary accounts called it the thunder announcing the death of an empire. On the sea, the Byzantines clung to hope by blocking the Golden Horn with a massive chain. Mehmed II responded with one of history's boldest maneuvers.
Heave! Pull! Together now!
His ships were hauled across the hill of Galata on a greased wooden roll. By morning, Ottoman vessels appeared behind the harbor, defenses shocking the defenders. Inside the city, daily life became a battle between faith and exhaustion. Casualties mounted as supplies dwindled, yet the people's spirit held firm. Churches overflowed with worshippers, candles flickered like desperate stars. Whispers spread. In the final hour, an angel will descend with the sword of victory. As cannon fire ground the ancient walls, the city clung to a fragile hope, a final flame amid the storm. By the 6th week of the siege, the wounds on the Theodosian walls had opened into gaping breaches. Ottoman gunners fired day and night, determined to crush not just stone, but the city's will. Each shot sent ancient masonry crashing like sand. By day, defenders fought simply to hold the line. By night, under torchlight, soldiers and citizens rushed to repair the shattered walls. The war became a desperate race against time itself. Yet internal cracks spread as Catholics and Orthodox argued fiercely.
Now, before it's too late.
Disputes
But what
erupted
can we
in
do?
churches,
The king will
marketplaces,
not listen to
even
reason.
military councils. Some saw alliance with Rome as salvation, others saw it as betrayal. Amid turmoil, one figure stood firm: Emperor Constantine XI. Though urged to flee and preserve his
Please,
dynasty,
you must
he
listen
refused.
to reason.
We cannot win this war!
On the eve of the final battle, he addressed soldiers and citizens. His speech sounded like the last testament of Rome. He spoke of honor, faith, and the sacred duty to defend the city to the last breath. In the trembling glow of candles, his words rose the final echo of an empire on the edge of dawn. Before sunrise, on May 29, the drums of the Ottoman host thundered across the plains, heralding the final assault. The sound reverberated from three sides, encircling the Theodosian walls in a storm of iron and fire. Smoke and flame curled over the ancient fortifications as the first wave advanced the irregular Azapes. Their charge broke upon the defenses, clearing the path for the elite janissaries behind them. With unyielding precision, the janissaries pressed forward in the second wave, the empire's fate tightening with every step. Behind them, reserve units stood ready to extinguish the last remnants of resistance. Then came the breaking point. Giovanni Giustiniani, pillar of the defense, fell gravely wounded. As he was carried from the walls, morale faltered. News of his retreat tore through the ranks like an open wound. Amid the turmoil, Constantine XI removed his imperial regalia, choosing to face death as a common soldier. Chronicles recall his final words: "The city is lost, but not our honor." Moments later, the defenses shattered. Ottoman forces surged into the wounded capital. Civilians rushed toward Hagia Sophia, turning the sanctuary into a last desperate refuge. Soon after, Mehmed II entered in measured silence, a king surveying the remains of an ancient world. He commanded the preservation of key monuments and offered protection to those who survived. With that dawn, Constantinople did not merely change rulers, an entire world came to its end. The fall of Constantinople marked more than the loss of a city, it marked the end of the medieval world. The last symbol of the Roman Empire, the foundation of Europe for over 1,000 years, had finally collapsed. Its fall shifted the balance of power. The Ottomans ascended in the east, while Western Europe entered a profound transformation. The tragedy of 1,453 scattered scholars and ideas, helping ignite the cultural rebirth of the Renaissance. With Ottoman control of old trade routes, European powers sought new paths to the east. And from this search emerged the age of exploration. Columbus, Vasco da Gama, and Magellan soon stepped onto the stage of world history. A vast and unknown world unfolded from the ashes of Constantinople. Meanwhile, Mehmed II rebuilt the city, reshaping its destiny. Under his rule, it flourished as Istanbul, a brilliant capital stretching across 3 continents. Palaces, markets, monuments, all revived into a thriving center of commerce and culture. From the ruins of Byzantium, a new world order was born. The 29th of May, 1453, was not merely the fall of a city, it was the closing of an old world and the birth of a new one. The Theodosian walls, unshaken for 1,000 years, finally crumbled, proving no fortress is truly eternal. Power, however mighty, remains fragile before the relentless forces of time and history. From the ruins of Byzantium rose a new era, the age of exploration and expanding empires. The city changed hands, but its lessons endured lessons of resilience and transformation. History teaches through the echoes of those who lived its greatest tragedies. What causes a great empire to collapse in mere weeks? Which forces shape the destiny of a city or an entire age? The fall of Constantinople remains a mirror held up to every civilization. What lessons from its fall still resonate today? Share your thoughts, for history is not only remembered, but reflected upon.